real fighter plane, but a simulator, built using a real Vampire jet, computer controlled, and all constructed by one of the most remarkable air training corps in the country, the 1855 Royton Squadron. The plane, a gift from British Aerospace, was mounted on a motor-driven carriage and fitted with hydraulic jacks to allow it to turn, bank and dive just like a real plane. All this is controlled by a computer, also constructed by the squadron under the guidance of Sqn Leader Kenworthy. The plane keeps its full complement of instruments and controls, and with the help of the computer, behaves just as if it were really flying. As with the RAF itself, everything is coordinated by a flight controller. Royton is the only ATC squadron in the country with such a flight simulator, and it is of course very popular with all the cadets. Most of those who go on to fly real aeroplanes find that it gives them a valuable introduction to flying. In particular, it allows them to become familiar with the controls and provides experience of handling an aircraft without the stress of actually being airborne. Everything is of course done properly. The flight is carefully planned, taking account of wind and weather conditions, and as well as providing valuable training for pilots, it allows budding air traffic controllers to gain useful experience for future ground-based careers in the RAF.
X-ray Kilo 637 is established on the left base, turning finals, over.
Report finals.
3 Kilo 637, look up. X-ray Kilo 637, final to land.
Clear to land, X-ray Kilo 637. Wind velocity 270 at 10 knots.
Clear to land, X-ray Kilo 637.
Flying is only a small part of life in the Royton ATC. It is now the 6th of May, annual presentation day, and the occasion when the squadron formally recognises all the effort and achievements of the year by the cadets. And it's very much a family event, as mums and dads, sisters and girlfriends are already packing the drill hall for the award-giving ceremony. First of the VIPs to arrive is Group Captain McMinn, the North and West Regional Commandant, who is welcomed by Sqn Leader Kenworthy, Chairman of the Civilian Committee, and by the Commanding Officer of the squadron, Flight Lieutenant Gillibrand. The other distinguished guest is the Mayor of Oldham, Councillor John Curran, who is making his first official visit to the squadron. Before the award-winning ceremony begins, the visitors will inspect a guard of honour provided by a select group of cadets, with well-polished boots and buckles and freshly blancoed webbing. The Royton Squadron is known for placing great stress on neatness of turnout and well-disciplined drill, a fact not missed by the trained eye of Group Captain McMinn, They're also clearly appreciated by the Mayor. All appears to be correct, and the VIPs move on to the drill hall.
Officer on parade, days.
Presentation of the awards can now begin. Corporal William Bentley steps forward to receive his proficiency certificate from Wing Commander Connell. Cadet Richard Barrow. His brother Sergeant Michael Barrow receiving the modelling trophy. Cadet Stephen Doran. Group Captain McMinn now takes over to present a proficiency certificate to Michael Hartley.
Corporal Minahan.
The Mayor of Oldham, Councillor John Curran, presents a certificate to Brian Minion. Miguel Sutcliffe. One of the founders of the Royton ATC is Squadron Leader Kenworthy. We asked him how long they had been in action.
Since 1941, round about November 41, the squadron was formed, and it operated in an old mill in the centre of Royton, actually, the Bath Mill. The then CO of the squadron was Flight Lieutenant Mercer, a World War I observer, actually.
Now, I've heard you talking with enthusiasm about the Air Training Corps, and you obviously feel it has great value to the lads who join you. What are the sort of values you think that people will get from this sort of exercise?
Well, of course, it gets a youngster, he sort of grows up, becomes adult fairly quickly, gets him to stand on his own 2 feet, and of course it, apart from any potential training for the Royal Air Force, the citizenship side of it in the various activities is most useful, because as a squadron here we do quite a lot for the general public. We go out doing motorcycle displays and abseiling displays for various organisations up and down the country, which is helping various charities and so on. We do a certain amount of community work in the town as well. And of course, whilst the youngster's with us, what he can achieve, if he's bright enough and gets the necessary O levels, he can get a flying scholarship, of course, and even up to almost a private pilot licence standing whilst he's with us, of course.
Having watched the various displays, it seems that the motorcycle seems to be particular enthusiasm from you on that side. Is this something you're particularly interested in?
Well, both my hobbies were a bit daft. In the early days of the squadron, when I took up the squadron after the war, I inflicted both my hobbies on the squadron, which one was motorcycling, of course, and the other was rock climbing, of course. And I think you've got to have your head banged as a youngster to do either of them, you know.
And do you go far with your motorcycle displays? Do you travel
we've been on at Wembley and Earls Court, and virtually all over the country, of course, Newcastle, Birmingham, and so on. We toured for a number of years with the Royal Air Force exhibition, which went round the country at Battle of Britain time.
The 1855 Squadron is one of the Air Training Corps with its own marching band. But high standards don't come easily, and the 24 players have to turn out regularly for practice. Instruction is mostly by past members of the band, and it's now that basic drill training needs to be second nature so that the cadets can concentrate on the music. The instruments were all paid for by fundraising activities, one of which was a sponsored 24-hour band play. This bought the last set of trumpets. The band performs in public several times a year, always without asking for payment, and can often be seen at ceremonial parades in Royton and Oldham. Among their competition successes are a first place in the North West Marching Band competition and a champion solo trumpeter.
And ready! Fire to the centre! Quick! March!
Cadet Warrant Officer Mark Hamilton leads the band off the training field after another successful practice. Shooting is, of course, one of the basic activities for cadets, and again, it's an area in which the Royton Squadron have acquired an enviable reputation. The squadron is well equipped with rifles of several types, but for competition, standard shooting, the Martini 22 is preferred. Great emphasis is naturally placed on security, and the firing mechanisms are stored in a safe place, well away from the rifles themselves. Rifles are required this evening, both for drill and for shooting practice, and the first job is to match each rifle with its own particular firing mechanism. Cadets must reach the age of 13 years 9 months before being allowed to handle firearms, but once the day comes, they can't wait to have a go. The Royton Squadron have their own fully covered 25-yard rifle range, which allows shooting at all times of the day, regardless of weather conditions. Standard 25-yard target cards are used, and at that distance they look very small indeed. The squadron's top team can get most of their shots within a circle no larger than a penny, which accounts for them presently ranking third amongst all the ATC groups in the country. Rifle shooting makes heavy demands on the concentration and promotes the ability to stay calm and relaxed when under pressure. It also teaches cadets to have proper respect for dangerous weapons, for these rifles are dangerous, and a strict safety discipline always applies on the range. Shooting over, all the rifles must be stripped down for thorough cleaning and checking. Each cadet must become familiar with the firearm issued to him. Rifles are not just for shooting, however, and they also play an important part in the drill display. So in the best service tradition, out comes the Blanco. Elsewhere in the squadron, other cadets are busy with their machines used by the motorcycle display team. All maintenance work is undertaken by the cadets themselves, which of course gives them yet another skill. Back in the drill hall, the bandsmen are preparing the special uniforms for the next band display. Fitting this dress code is not as easy as it looks, and a little help from a fellow cadet is welcome to get things just right. Newcomers are always welcome in the squadron, and one of the first things that they'll be taught is the basics of drill. The first skill that must be mastered is foot drill, and NCOs and the more experienced cadets never miss the opportunity to put a new recruit through his paces. And after all that hard work, the cadets make for the RAF CAF.
Terrible service.
Royton's answer to the NAFI.
Hey, you should have told me you're doing that. I've messed it up, man.
The squadron has an impressive collection of aero engines, which must be kept in good order. This gives the cadets a unique opportunity to become acquainted with the complicated machinery of modern military aircraft, experience which provides a useful grounding to the many cadets who go on to make a career for themselves in the RAF. Physical fitness is very important. One of the most popular activities is unarmed combat. All the cadets are encouraged to join in. There's always a heavy demand on the drill display team, and with a public event in the offing, no opportunity can be missed for practice. So although it's a cold, dark night, it's everybody out on the parade ground.
Right, who's missing?
And together, keep your head nice to the front, arms up.
Now, out there somewhere in total darkness, a desperate band of escaped prisoners are trying to reach the frontier. And an equally determined group of guards is trying to stop them. It's night exercises. These are the hunters, the cadets. And these, the hunted, the NCOs. And as with real warfare, there are casualties, but nothing serious. Afterwards, everyone has their own tale to tell, and then it's off with the war paint before a final roll call to make sure that everyone is safely back. But none of this would be possible without a dedicated band of voluntary helpers.
Civilian instructor Ernie Kirkpatrick, can you tell me exactly what you do in the squadron?
Yes, I think it's more to the point what we don't do. We're obviously very busy men. I, in particular, am responsible for foot and arms drill, basically, and recruits joining the squadron. It's my job to teach them the basic things that we require before we allow them to go along to visit an RAF airfield. The history and organisation of both the ATC and the RAF. First aid, airmanship, all the things that they will require if they have to go and visit a squadron.
And how did you come to join the squadron?
Basically because I'm an old man, and I think it was nostalgia really. I wasn't conscious that I was searching for something to occupy my spare moments. I wandered into this quite by accident, and I'm so pleased that I did.
And you're ex-RAF?
Yes, I did just over 6 years wartime service, mostly in the RAF regiment.
And how much of your time does it take up?
Yes, officially 2 evenings a week, Wednesdays and Friday evenings. But in fact, it's all consuming. You can visit the squadron at any time almost, day or night, and you'll find there's some activity or other going on.
How do you say Royton compares with other squadrons?
Arguably the best in the country. In fact, this year we have been nominated for an award. It's called the Lee's Trophy. This is a trophy awarded to the adjudged best squadron in the whole country. And we rather fancy our chances again. We have won it previously. In fact, behind me now there's some of the certificates that tell you the history of the squadron and its successes in the past.
Can you tell me how the civilian instructors fit in with other people running the squadron?
Yes. Our job is to bring probably skills that others don't have, and the greatest skill, of course, being experience. And I think experience is so useful in an organisation such as ours. Mine, of course, it's wartime service in the RAF regiment.
In addition to training their own cadets, this squadron supports the Regional Motorcycle Safety Scheme by training members of the general public. Newcomers to motorcycling are invited to bring their machines along to the squadron training field, where they'll be shown how to negotiate a series of obstacles which simulate conditions experienced on the roads. The visitors will learn the right way and the wrong way to handle braking and other aspects of riding. Finally, it's time for training on the public roads under the guidance of a qualified instructor. Much of the responsibility within the squadron is borne by the NCOs.
Cadet Warrant Officer Mark Hamilton, when did you join the squadron?
1977.
What is the role of a Cadet Warrant Officer?
To be the link between the staff and the cadets, with the responsibility of being in charge of the cadets, but to sort of liaise between the cadets and the staff on problems and things like that.
And you're the most senior of the NCOs?
That's true, yeah.
What sort of things do you do in this squadron?
Well, the squadron has a range of activities, from motorcycle display team to continuity drill team, abseiling, mountain climbing, band, of course. The squadron has a PT display team. We go out doing public displays around the area and things like that.
Yeah, the squadron seems to take up most of your spare time. Is it a way of life for you?
I think so. Probably about 7 days a week, I think. Well, 7 nights.
And how long have you been a warrant officer?
18 months. You can stay a cadet warrant officer for 4 years. At the age of 22, you have to resign your commission, and then it's up to you what you want to do. My own personal opinion is to hopefully get a commission in the ATC or join the RAF. I'm torn between the two at the moment.
Do many cadets go on to the RAF?
Well, this year it's unusual. This year we've had 4 join the Army and 2 join the RAF, so it's a mixture between the two.
And how much responsibility is involved as a warrant officer?
I think quite a lot, really, because you've got to take the problems of the cadets, look after the cadets, sort of make sure that all the cadets are occupied. So there is quite a lot of responsibility involved.
And who generally runs the squadron?
Well, generally, of course, it's run from the office. All the paperwork is done from the office. But the civilian side is, the chairman of the civilian committee is Sqn Leader Kenworthy, and they look after all the monetary side and all the welfare of the squadron, the upkeep of the squadron, and of course Sqn Leader Kenworthy, being the chairman, is in charge.
And Squadron Leader Kenworthy seems to be here at least as much as you do. Is he a very active person?
He's probably here more than me. Of course, his private life is busy as well. He has other commitments, but I think the ATC takes up 95% of his time, which of course he enjoys very much, I think.
Has he been with the squadron for long?
Ever since its formation in 1941, and he joined as a warrant officer and then progressed to an officer in the squadron, then to commanding officer. And over the years he's received his Cadet Forces Medal 3 times, and this of course is a great achievement.
Once every 2 years, the squadron invites the general public to their headquarters for an open day. In addition to the normal squadron activities, displays are provided by the local police and fire services. As well as the Vampire flight simulator, the public can inspect the squadron's static Meteor aircraft. The Royton Squadron is very unusual in having a motorcycle display team, and its performance is one of the highlights of the open day. The team consists of 9 riders, along with a further 5 helpers who look after the machines during the performance. Cadets can join the display team from the age of 14 years, and after 2 weeks basic training are ready to attempt some of the easier stunts. The team uses a variety of machines, including old Triumphs and some newer Japanese models. Some were donated, but most belong to Squadron Leader Kenworthy, who is still the driving force behind the team. About 12 shows are given each year, and the motorcyclists have travelled very widely to satisfy the demand for their exciting display. It may look dangerous, especially for such youngsters, but there are only occasional spills and no one has been seriously hurt. complement their other display activities, the 1855 Squadron have an accomplished precision drill team. Once again, the importance of basic foot training becomes evident, but in this case with the addition of rifle drill. Real Lee Enfield rifles are used, and at £9 each, they're quite a weight for the younger cadets to handle with such dexterity. Great emphasis is placed on maintaining an accurate pace, 120 to the minute for standard quick-time marching, and a great deal of concentration and practice are required. For this reason, only the best cadets are selected from the 75 members of the squadron. The abseiling tower is always a popular attraction at the open day, especially as the public are allowed to have a go. But first the cadets show how it should be done. It looks a long way up. From the top it looks an even longer way down. But there's no shortage of volunteers. The younger they are, the less fear they seem to show, and most of the anxious looks are on the faces of their mums waiting below. And to show just what can be done, with a bit of practice and confidence, the cadets are always on hand. And if the abseiling tower looks high, what about this, the real thing? A quarry near Marsden in gale force winds, providing the ultimate challenge for the most intrepid cadets. Cadets can go abseiling from the age of 14. Apart from being great fun, the sport teaches self-discipline, with all the safety equipment to be thoroughly checked, and also encourages teamwork and develops a feeling of trust in one's companions. Well, that's how to get down. But what about getting up there in the first place? It may not look so spectacular, but rock climbing also demands considerable nerve and a cool head. Safety is of the utmost importance, and the cadets are first shown how to tackle sheer rock faces before climbing to any great height. The squadron's rock climbing expertise also has a more serious side, and on several occasions their mountain rescue team has been called out to help lost or injured climbers in the Pennines. Another hard but rewarding exercise completed. But achievement is what the ATC is all about. Another chance for the cadets to prove themselves and take a further step towards promotion, as a junior NCO recalls.
Cadet Corporal Dean Parks, how long have you been a cadet?
I've been a cadet for 2 years now, since 1982.
And when did you get promoted?
Just a couple of months ago in July, I think.
I see. What do you have to do to become a corporal?
I think mainly you just have to prove yourself, prove that you've got the capabilities for what you're asked to do.
Now, just what would you say it is about the ATC that appeals to youngsters like yourself?
Well, I like most things about it. I like the discipline, which I think is a bit strange. I like the band. Everything I'm involved in, I enjoy doing.
Are you involved in all the activities?
Yeah, I'm involved in most of them, yeah.
Do you hope for further promotion?
Oh, yeah, well, I think everybody does, really.
Want to be a warrant officer one day, do you?
Yeah, well, I would like that, yeah.
And then what? Perhaps join the RAF?
Yeah, I do want to join the RAF eventually. It's going as an air load master, hopefully.
Okay. Okay.
The motorcycle display team at the open day may have looked effortless, but this degree of precision is not achieved without regular practice. Displays are made up from several routines. Some involve carefully synchronized riding, others are feats of balance, and some will call for the nerve of a stuntman. The display team was formed by Sqn Leader Kenworthy, an accomplished rider himself, who continues to keep an eye on the progress of the cadets. And just to prove that he's not lost his touch, despite coming up to his 70th birthday, this is him going over the ramp. Practice over, the team are now ready for the next display, and there's just time for a quick wash and brush up.
Before the display starts, I'd like to give you a brief history of the display team. The display team's been going for 34 years now, and it is entirely cadets who are on the team. The average age of the cadets is 16, so between 13 and 18-year-olds ride on the team. Tired on the way to work, put your feet up and have a rest. Well, you've seen a 2-on-1, you've seen a 3-on-1, So let's try and double the 3 and get 6 on 1. And in these conditions today, I do actually mean try.
This film has attempted to show some of the many activities that can be enjoyed by young people at the 1855 Royton Air Training Squadron. In many instances, the squadron is simply amongst the best in the country. In others, it is unique. Or as some members of the squadron put it, the best youth club in the land.